Let's go over to the Notre Dame game now. Big night game last night. Number 7 Notre Dame in a just defensive slugfest outlasted A&M. Number 20 Texas A&M 23-13 in this game. And let's go over quickly the Notre Dame and Texas A&M grades in this game. Notre Dame, guy you're going to talk about, Dalton. Jeremiah Love, 77.8 grade as a new running back for Notre Dame after PFF legend Audric Estime, now in the NFL, gone. Cooper Flanagan, not Mitchell Evans, was the highest graded tight end for Notre Dame yesterday at 62.6. Billy Schrauff at a 62.6 as well, the offensive guard. Jaden Greathouse at a 62.5. And offensive tackle, one of the new ones, Emil Wagner at a 62. Notre Dame's defense, which was the best part of the team that we said in our preview and the best part of the team yesterday in the game, man. Xavier Watts at a 79.1. Reigning defensive player of the year for college football. Benjamin Morrison at 77.2. Jack Kaiser at 74.4. Those are the three right there, man. It's like, oh yeah, that makes sense. The three highest grade players right there.
That's about right.
Jordan Patello at a 73.7 and Drake Bowen at a 73.2. Let's go over to the Texas A&M offense in this game, which obviously struggled a little bit out there. Offensive guard, Kalinu, I hope I got that right, Fayu, 69.5. Armaj Reed Adams at a 62.6. Two guards for them are the highest grade players. Le'Veon Moss at a 62.4. Trey Watson, the tight end, at 57.2. And Ja'Day Walker at a 57.1, the wide receiver. And finally, the Texas A&M defense, their star defensive player they got in the transfer portal was Nick Scorton, highest graded player for them in this game, 74.8. Scooby Williams at a 73.7. Cassius Howell at a 70.5. Shamar Stewart at a 70.2. And Will Lee III at a 67.4. Dawn, what was for you the stat that really told the story in this game?
It's simple because we got the game that we thought we were going to get, right? But it comes down to Notre Dame's defense against Connor Wegman, and I'll focus on Wegman. Look, it was a rough day. There are going to be better days. We've had better days from Wegman. We've seen what he can do, what he's capable of doing. But last night, I'll start with 28 passing grade. You won't win many games with a 28 passing grade. 12 of 30 for 100 yards, 2 interceptions, 3 turnover-worthy plays, no big-time throws. Notre Dame's defense just won the battle. We're going to see better from Wegman in future weeks, right? He's going to get a few weeks here, including in a couple weeks against Florida, where you go, okay, there's some better matchups here. But Wegman, first of all, first game back from an injury, right? A broken foot, I believe it was, and he only played 4 games last year. And to have your first game, even though it was a cozy home environment, to have your first game back against this defense, I might have asked to sit out one more week. You mentioned those first 3 names. We didn't even mention Howard Cross and Riley Mills. I mean, and they were great. A little lower, it was a good battle in the trenches. But yeah, Wegman, Notre Dame's defense won the battle. That's all you can say to it. We're not going to sit here and go, oh, Connor Wegman's terrible or none of that. We just have to wait and see how he responds. I think it's a good game to come back and respond to and show what kind of guts you have coming to come back next week and play well, right? But last night, A&M just couldn't get any passing game going, right? And I thought Notre Dame blitzed him early, which I thought was really interesting, but they're one of the teams with one of the few secondaries in the country that can go, you know what, we're going to blitz a lot. We're going to trust Ben Morrison and Xavier Watts, those guys in the secondary. Even Jack Kaiser can cover him. He's a hell of an athlete, right? But they were blitzing him. To me, he looked rattled early, and once he started feeling that pressure, he wasn't getting his feet set. There was a lot of throws where his feet weren't set, and he looked like he was rushing a bit, and he was just trying so hard to beat the pressure that may or may not have been coming. You know, it's the old Sam Darnold thing.
Yeah, I'm seeing ghosts out there. Yeah.
I think Wegman did have a little bit of that as the game went on last night. I really like Notre Dame's approach of blitzing him early. So rough night for Wegman for sure. A lot of quarterbacks are going to look like that against Notre Dame.
It's like the Garrett Green thing, where it's like, all right, like, you know, to be fair.
There's a lot of this Notre Dame defense is a top 3 unit in the country.
Oh, yeah.
This is a nasty at all 3 levels, right? And if you have a guy like Botello off the edge who's going to add to what Cross and Mills bring inside, man, oh man, this defense, and if Riley Leonard just manages the game like he did yesterday, they could run the table.
Yep.
They could run the table with their defense. And I thought Leonard did it. We'll get into Leonard. He did a really nice job managing and playing to the pace of the game, much like Carson Beck did. But yeah, Wegman, it was a struggle, and it's going to be a struggle. That's a brick wall, man.
Yeah, absolutely is. Maybe he should have worked out with Ward and Shador. And actually, the quarterback coach who got it from the chat, thankful to the chat, is Daryl Colbert from Select Quarterbacks, was the quarterback coach. So if you're a quarterback looking to get better, maybe hit him up, man. Maybe him and Jordan Palmer, maybe the two guys to hit up right now because they what they're doing right now. But yeah, Wegman, to be fair, again, it's like the Garrett Green theory. It's like, dude, It's Notre Dame's defense, man. And to be fair, again, to him as well, the A&M receivers, I mean, they were getting suffocated out there. It was almost exactly like Garrett Green was like, dude, he has no one to throw to right now. So, yes, he didn't have a good game at all. But I will say that they really did a great job in this game. That really is my stat that tells the story as well, is that Notre Dame, 85.6 coverage grade in this game, allowed 3.3 yards per pass. That's crazy, man. Usually the average is around like 7 or 8 yards per pass, right?
So if you're getting under like 7.5, you're having a rough night.
Yeah, and 3.3, man. That's like even bad for rushing performance if you're getting 3.3 yards per rush, man. So Ben Morrison and Xavier Watts, you mentioned before, both had coverage grades above a 76, and this is Notre Dame's defense, man. Even with Notre Dame's interior two guys of Cross and Mills not having the game of their lives, you still have Jack Kaiser at linebacker. You still have Ben Morrison. You still have Xavier Watts. Like all three of those guys are like maybe top 5 players in the country at their positions, right? So it's crazy, man. And I think Notre Dame's defense is going to be what carries this team to the college football playoff. And from that game alone, you're like, yeah, that's the unit. That is the unit, man. So they looked phenomenal in this game. Dawn, what for you though was the most impressive part of last night's game for you?
We knew we were getting a slugfest. We knew it was going to be low scoring. I had this game 23-17. It wound up 23-13. Close enough. Let me go to the offense, and I was questioning, okay, where's Notre Dame going to find it? Where are they going to find the points? And Riley Leonard managed the game really well. He ran the ball well, but let me get Jeremiah Love, their highest graded offensive player. Look, 13 carries, 89 yards, a touchdown, an 80 rushing grade, and 10 missed tackles forced on 13 carries. That's just spectacular, right? And I think what he gave them when they needed it most was just that physical Notre Dame back that just goes, you're not tackling me. Not before I get 5, 6, 7 yards. The big touchdown run, I mean, they needed someone to step up. And several guys were good enough. Leonard was good enough, much like Carson Beck. Understand the game you're playing in, and our defense can win it. I think Leonard's going to have better nights statistically. But tonight, or last night I should say, was about Love. And even Jadarian Price had a nice night too, at 44 yards on 8 carries, right? But Notre Dame's ability to run the ball is always big. And if you have these 3 guys, but especially Love, as physical as he was in the fourth quarter especially, he took the game over. Yep. And I think if they have that, they can at least work on the passing game as they go. Bo Collins had a couple of nice catches, right? Mitchell Evans working back into shape. Cooper Flanagan, right? We're going to work on the passing game. But if we have this run game with these 3 guys, and especially with Love, this is a problem.
Yep.
This is a problem for other teams because now you're talking about that grinding defense, ground and pound, time of possession kind of team that Notre Dame always puts out there. But I think the running dimension, especially with Leonard added in, Estime was great last year, yeah. But Hartman didn't give you a whole lot in the running game. Not like Leonard, right? Riley Leonard gives you that other dimension, and he's opening up holes for these backs, too, in a young offensive line you're about to get into. I thought the running game led by Jeremiah Love was the most impressive part for me. I knew their defense would play well. That was a big part.
That absolutely was. 77% forced tackle rate. That's
nuts.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. Like I said, 30% or better is where you're like, oh, this is really good. Yeah, that's double that, right? So, really great game for Jeremiah Love against a really good A&M defense too. That's really nothing to scoff at. So, my most impressive part, though, you mentioned it, was Anthony Knapp. Man, I want to shout him out. True freshman left tackle. This kid was also recruited as an interior offensive lineman as well. And true freshman left tackle, filling in for Joe Alt. Massive shoes to fill in figuratively and physically. I think he's a guy, man, that just was really, he came into this game, Kyle Field, night game, massive environment. And they actually showed Dalton in the broadcast. I don't know if you caught this, but Marcus Freeman went up to him and they had a mic'd up segment. And Freeman's like, hey, man, you're our guy. Like, just believe in yourself out there. You're going to do great. I think Freeman himself is like, oh, man, this kid's going up against 2 NFL guys, maybe Shamar Stewart and Nick Scorton. Like, see what the kid's got. The kid's got something, man. Kid's got something. He had an 82.3 pass blocking grade yesterday. 1 pressure allowed on 36 pass blocking snaps. And I think like 40 or 45% of his snaps were against Scorton, who right now is a top 10 prospect on our big board, man. So it really felt like yesterday was all about the true freshman, Dalton. And Anthony Knapp, a guy that we previewed in our top 10 true freshmen to know, he really showed up in that game, man. And listen, Notre Dame's always had great offensive linemen every single year, it feels like. And Anthony Knapp is a guy to know for the next 3 years of college football.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like that you brought that up because, again, Notre Dame's season and how far they go is going to be decided by how far their passing game takes them, right? And you always need 3 things. You need somebody who can throw, people who can catch, and people who can block. And we saw a little bit of all three of those last night. I think the receivers are the biggest work in progress. I think Leonard was a really good game plan for Riley Leonard. Quick game, young offensive line, freshman tackle, all that stuff. Really good game plan. Leonard played a nice game manager type of game. Offensive line was really good. Pass and run game, obviously, you have the backs breaking a lot of tackles, but they need some holes. This passing game, if Knapp is solid at left tackle in the passing game, you got an animal in Notre Dame too, because their defense, you're not scoring, even good offenses, you're not scoring more than 20 points on Notre Dame.
That actually also is his hardest game of the season probably for him, right? With those edges and Scorton and Stewart,
oh yeah,
it gets easier for me in that environment too. It's like, dude, it gets easier from here, man.
If he can capably block that guy, look, Joe Alt's a big name to live up to, but man, that's a good start to the next guy up.
Dude, and it's like, dude, him filling in for Joe Alt, Jeremiah Smith filling in for Marvin Harrison Jr. is like, next one up. Here we go again. Like, so yeah, Anthony Knapp, man, not like, wasn't a 5-star recruit like Jeremiah Smith either. Like 4-star guy or like number two.
Only four.
Only four.
Number
250 something or something like that. And I was like, let's see what the kid's got. And then he has a lot, man. I'm really excited to see what Anthony Knapp can do this season and beyond.